Hi there, welcome back. If you're watching this on Saturday, happy Saturday. I'm taping it on Friday, in case you're wondering. I am continuing my work on creating 2 journals from the text block, and creating ephemera from the text block of The Edwardian Lady, which is the biography of Edith Holden, who wrote in the junk journaler's world the beautiful country diary of an Edwardian lady. Oh, and welcome. I'm Catherine, if you're new here. And if you're not new here, welcome back. Hi. So I have been working on, I have a grungy one and I have a more refined one. So I have been working on the grungy one this week off camera, and she's coming along nicely. And I've got a few things done, like I said, off camera. So I'll show you what I did, and I'll try my best to explain what I did. And then I have a couple of little things just to get done before I have some running around to do today. So I really detest the days where I have to leave my house. I am such a hermit now. I am astounded at how much I just enjoy being in my home with my little dog, enjoying my yard. It's sunny today, so we're really going to enjoy the yard today. And I've got to tell you, I enjoy it so much, and COVID didn't help, because COVID just gave me an excuse to hunker down even more. So anyhow, my little fluffy friend Kirby is having a little nap over there, and so I thought I will record a video while she naps. Then I'll take her out and tire her out, and then unfortunately I have to go to the grocery store. We do have to eat. Anyhow, so with I had decided I was getting started on the refined Edith, because she's sort of a smaller but thicker. This one is bigger but thinner. And this book was in nicer condition. This one's very, very, had been very well loved, but it was a garden book, the complete book of garden magic. Like, isn't that a wonderful title for a book for Edith Holden? And I started getting started on the inside of this, and then I thought, hold on. I could end up using everything in one book and not leaving much for the second book. And that's when I realized I needed to finish the text block and get it in. And that way I can divide up the ephemera from what's left of the text block between the 2 books. And they will be very simple journals. But I think anyone who is an Edith lover is probably going to enjoy sort of as I pass the torch, and they can do as they wish with the book, whether that's add more Edith to it, or maybe add botanicals to it, or maybe there's an artist that is in a similar style as Edith, or like Janet Marsh's book. That's so beautiful, her artwork. And see, my mind is drawing a blank right now, but who knows what's in store for these lovely little books. So I had got started on this before I stopped myself, because as you know, I had got the opening spread ready, and I had to share the Edwardian Lady title. There are 2 in the book, so I had to make sure one got into one book and one got into the other book. So the refined Edith one, I call it the refined one just because it's in so much nicer condition, and it's thick and heavy, and anyhow. I like how that turned out. So I thought the least I can do for our grungy Edith, and I imagine that this might have been the book that she took with her out into the field as she was working. And so this one, they both have artwork from Edith on the cover. And this is a landscape that you seldom saw, that we aren't as aware of from Edith. If you get a chance to read The Edwardian Lady or even find a copy of it for your very own, it's a wonderful book in and of itself. So keep an eye out for it. So I made a decision. I had to make a decision, and I did not want it to be a King Solomon decision, because the other Edwardian Lady title on the other side of it was one of only 2 pictures of Edith that's in the book. Large pictures. There's pictures of her from a distance. You can't really tell which lady she is in the picture. It's so far away. So I wasn't going to cut this up and lose this picture, but I also very much wanted to be able to use this. So that's when I decided that I'm just going to put the whole front page on the front page. And I liked, when I pulled it out of the text block, it deckled the edge itself. So I just very lightly used a bit of Distress ink on it and around the edge just to give it a little bit of a glow. I find I'm using vintage photo with this journal. A lot of the pages for the text block have a border around the edge that is sort of a rusty orange color. So the vintage photo is really complementing it nicely, the things that are in that color. And there's a lot of little sketches like here that are in that color. So the vintage photo is really complementing it nicely. Now here you can see the wing from the text block from when I glued it in, but I loved these end papers. These are the original end papers from this particular book. It's from 1948, and I'll continue working on this part off screen. I'm taking the edge back. I realized yesterday that it can come back, and it needs to, because I still have one of the fly leaves. So this originally was here when I took this book apart to use for in other journals. And I will still continue. I will save the text block. It's just a marvelous book. So what I'm going to do, my goal is to move this back over here and put it in as if it was never gone. And I think that's going to look nice. Now I had to, as I said, make a sort of King Solomon decision on a page. And because I already cut it up, I'm going to try and find it in this copy that I have. I must confess, I have several copies of the Edwardian Lady. And let me see. Hopefully I haven't already used it yet. This was my cutting copy that I had been using. So the one that I'm using, yes, see, you can tell I've already used the squirrel before somewhere else. This is the page that it was on. So if you have this book, look up page 67 and 68, because there was a little squirrel up here that Edith did. So I want that one on the front cover, and I've already double matted it. I matted it onto some other paper from out of the text block and tore the edge. I really like the way this little squirrel looks, and that's going to go on the front cover. And what that left me with, because this did have 3 beautiful paintings of children that Edith did, was a hard decision. Do I get 3 or do I get 2? And the thing is that this painting is actually done by Edith's sister Winifred. So, and it's beautiful. Here it is that I finished with. I matted it onto the cardstock from a hanging card file. I love these ones. You get your choice of brown or green. if you, depending on what side you like. So I made a little frame for it, and that's most likely going to become a tuck spot somewhere in this journal. But Winifred was also a talented artist, and according to the little blurb underneath, she's the only one that didn't receive any formal art training. Evelyn, her sister, was a very talented artist in her own right. So, so what I think I want to do is I want to put this right on the front page. And I think I like the elegance. Let me lift it up so you can see it. I think I like the elegance of not inking this rough edge, but I'm not sure. I have some here. I'm going to lightly ink it and lay it down and see if I like it. No. I'm sorry, I'm thinking out loud. They all have writing on them. Okay. Because I don't want to ink it and find out I don't like it. On the other hand, I have lightly inked here, and it would add a bit of continuity. Oh, boy. Decisions. Anyhow, this one will go somewhere inside as a little... I even like that because there's green up here. This is a gardening page. Maybe in England, it's got pussy willows on it. Maybe England pussy willows start coming out in February. That's a little too early for where I live for pussy willows to come out, but they are early, certainly for my area in Ontario. They're one of the earlier things we get, is pussy willows. Love pussy willows. I mean, who couldn't like them? They look like little kitten paws. So let me give this a little bit of ink really lightly, like that, and just see if maybe if I can put my imagination cap on and see if that's something I would like. Yeah, you know what? I'm thinking I would like it because it incorporates, I inked around that edge because this is doubled, right? So I do think I'm going to ink this. And then I do think I'm going to also leave it as a pocket so that if the new owner, or maybe a tuck spot, maybe I'll do an L because it's really nice and thick and sturdy. So it could just be an L, a glued L tuck spot. I find those are easier to get things in and out of rather than a full pocket. I don't know about you, I struggle harder with a full pocket. And whenever I have something that's strong enough to hold, I much prefer gluing it down in an L shape. I think that is I had a little stream of glue. You know how your 3-in-1 glue can sometimes leave streamers when you pull the bottle away? Oh, I still see a pencil mark. I have got to erase that. I can see it, and that will drive me crazy. And I hope that's dry enough that I'm gonna rub it in the direction away so I can, and maybe it's just me that would see it, but I would know it's there and I wouldn't sleep at night. Now I don't think I can see pencil anywhere else around it because I, of course, put myself some pencil lines to make sure I was even Steven. Yeah, that's good. Alrighty, so let's finish what I was doing. I'll show you the back. I'm really, really happy with the back of this cover. I put in a few little tuck spots. Not quite done with it yet. I'm thinking I'm going to find a way to tie it closed, you know, with some twine and a banker's circle. You wrap the twine around, I'm thinking. There, so just a tiny little hint. Usually, you know me, I go crazy with the distress ink. But in this case, I just want a tender little, just a little hint of it. There we go. I like that. I need to put this somewhere safe because I know I'm either going to end up cutting it by accident or punching holes in it by accident, or it's going to meet an ugly death and I'm going to cry if I don't get it to safety. So here we go. Now here's another thing that I'm wondering about. These corners, whether I want to make them a little bit, just give them a little bit more elegance. So I have this corner chomper, and it's very, very simple, but I love it and I use it a lot. And it does just 2 little square notches on either side. And I'm wondering if I want to do that, or else I also have a corner chomper that does this. So it would have that. And I think it would make it look a little more purposeful as to why this front page is suddenly stuck in the middle of the front page. I think I'm leaning towards this little curvy one as opposed to this square one. But the square one, on the other hand, these are square corners, and it would continue that. We're going square. We're going square. There. I made the executive decision. Sometimes you can overthink things. I know I can. There, we're just going to do it. Okay. I have to be careful with this punch. If it's not in just right, you can just ruin the whole thing and end up having to trim it. There, we did it. Whew. Now I am going to have to re-ink. Paper. Paper, paper, paper. I had it. Is it under here? It's under here. Well, I hope you're all doing well. Thank you, everyone who had such nice, kind things to say about my good appointment that I had with the eye doctor. I'm excitedly looking forward to having my cataracts removed and possibly getting my vision improved. Well, definitely getting my vision improved. Whether I'll still need glasses or not is up in the air. He said he couldn't promise. And I'm quite all right with needing glasses. They've been on my face long enough. I'm quite all right if he says you're going to still need your glasses. That's okay. So thank you to everyone. I'm going to do a little bit, again, continuity of color just for this opening page. I'm not going to go through the whole book and start inking pages, and I have done that before. I have done journals in the past where I have inked every single page. I bet you have too. Sometimes they need it. Especially if you've used tea-dyed paper and then you have to cut a fresh edge on the paper. It looks odd if you don't refinish that edge, I think. Oh. Here we go. Putting it back back under there in case I need you, and I shouldn't leave you uncovered. All right, so that's good. You're going to go on there. I am thinking of using, I was thinking of using double-sided tape. Nick the Booksmith uses it all the time, but I firmly believe she has a much steadier hand than I do, because when you plop this down, there's no pulling it off and having a second go. If you're quick, you can have a second go with art glitter glue. And with 3-in-1 or Fabri-Tac, you can completely lift up and replace it. Same with glue sticks. So no, I'm going to do my art glitter glue. I don't want to go too near the edge, because if it blurbs out, I don't want it blurbing out on this beautiful ivory paper. So I'm going to just do that. And then I'm going to eyeball it. So wish me luck. I'm going to stand up. Now, I don't know whether, sometimes when I watch afterwards, I always rewatch my videos before I post them public. And sometimes what I'm doing will appear like it's uneven. So if this is appearing uneven, trust me, it's even. It's just the camera distorting it. There, I like that. And see, that will be tuck spot. I'm seeing that's wanting to come up, so I always have the option. I can turn it into a regular pocket, and I have lots of time to make that decision. All right, I like that. I am going to do something here that I did on the back page, and I'll take you over there to see. I'm just not going to do it yet until I get this end paper down, and I can't put this end paper down until I finish taking that old edge back so that I have room. The challenge is that this is the exact same size, so if I don't put it on exactly where the other one was, any flaw will show, whereas by bringing it in, that gives me more options actually to straighten it, because it wasn't straight, which is very common in any book for the end papers not to be straight. You'll see the back page here isn't straight. There's very little room at the top, and there's tons of room at the bottom. So yeah, you can see here I had a lot of fun in the back. I decided an artist's field book would need tuck spots, so I made tuck spots, because think about it, the back cover had the same text block wings that right now we can see in the front. It had this. These didn't need to be this big, they just happened to be from me making the text block. I could have trimmed them back a bit, but I knew they were both going to be covered up, so I just left them as they were. So I knew I was going to put some kind of tuck here on the back cover. So there, underneath there is the wing. I did use contractor's masking tape to hold it down so that you can slide things in and out more smoothly. Otherwise it would have still caught on that fabric. So there is contractor's tape under there. And contractor's tape, if you didn't know, And I was really pleased to tell my brother, who has like a couple of university degrees in fine arts. He didn't realize that contractor's tape within 3 days becomes permanent. So it's not like the green painter's tape that is designed to be peelable. It's peelable for about the first 3 days, and then after that it's designed to permanently adhere. And he didn't know that. So his little sister, who does not have several fine arts university degrees, was able to tell him that. Anyhow, so this is actually a pocket, a gusseted pocket that I created. And the paper that I covered it with is from the text block from this book, not from the Edith book. I figured that was allowed to be used. I stained it up a bit to make it look grungy. It's lists of flowers with the Latin name and lists with the common name. So I thought that's something Edith might put in a book for reference, quick reference as she's working. And then I had a bit of fun, this leftover page, because I cut out these little mice. These little mice were down at the bottom, little field mice. I just put them in there for now. They'll go somewhere into the book. I decided, why waste this page, and started cutting out word snippets to use. So here I have put nature notes and garden. And then this was tricky. I really thought about doing it on camera. And when I work over at my sewing machine, it's just very hard to do things on camera because I have to reset up my phone clamp. I record with my phone. And then also it was going to be tricky because I wanted to be able to do it without glue. So that meant clamping this acetate into place and then lifting the little clamps, just these things, lifting them as I got there with the machine, so that in the end it's held down completely by thread and not glue. This acetate was perfectly clear. I found a whole roll of it at my thrift store. Thank goodness it really is only this wide, so it was perfect. I actually had to give it a bit of an edge. I might have liked it to come out to the edge, but that was as wide as I could get it. And I guess I could have gone the other way now that I think about it. Oh well, too late. But it's a relatively new roll, so it wasn't old looking, yellowy. So good old alcohol ink, and I just made it look nice and nasty looking the way we like it. And then for the time being, I've got this tea-dyed envelope in here. That was my attempt. No laughing. When you look at Nancy from Wishes and Weeds and her beautiful tea-dyed lace papers, that was my attempt at putting a lace pattern on an envelope. That's embarrassing. Anyhow, I'm tucking it there. It's probably going to get glued down somewhere as a tuck spot or glued in as a... If I put this in as a flip, I've got to find a way to cover that up because that just looks nasty. Maybe I should leave it like that so whoever owns this in the future can have a good laugh. I used a ribbon as the hinge, and I incorporated sewing the ribbon in with the acetate, so that also made it tricky for me. Another reason why I didn't want to do it on camera. But this side I just used 3-in-1 and glued it down. And then here's where I put this little lace. This was on fabric, and I had to use a seam ripper and remove this lace off the fabric, and I got tons of it. So I don't know what it was on, that there was so much of it. I honestly have a big, one of those flat thimbles, just full of this lace. And it's really nice and nasty looking. And it's cotton, so I like it, and it's flat and light. Anyhow, so my plan is to get the new end paper laid down and then also run a strip of that lace along here. So this, I think, worked out well. I maybe the little field mouse could get tucked in behind. Wasn't sure what I wanted to do with it. It could go tucked in behind here so that when you open it, so if it was there and then you open it and there's the little field mouse. It's cute. See what I mean? The orangey ink. I'm at the stage with these books where I'm not sure. Let's put you in there now for now. I'm not sure which one I'm enjoying more, the red one or the green one. I waffle back and forth between the grungy one and the one that's a little bit slightly tidier. Let me show you what I did here. I told you previously, I think last week, that I wanted to find a way to incorporate this file folder tab that I used for the end papers, actually for the red book. And so I did. I put it here in the center signature. I loved it because it had a number there. And I also loved it because I know for sure, if this is Canadian, which it most likely is, it's older, because we did not pass our bilingual law into law until later. So many old vintage things here in Canada, if it's only got English on the label, you know it's vintage, because now by law, all things that are labeled must be in French and English, which I love. I think it shows our diversity. So this side is also a tuck spot, and I did some Shinuki fun sewing with the Shinuki does it, and so does Francesca at Junk Journal Joy. I think they're both equally good at the messy tangles. I really love the messy tangles. So so I did some messy tangles on this side, and then on this side I only sewed the paper and then glued it down because I didn't want to sew through it again up here. Not sure why, but anyhow, I'm really happy with how that turned out. And that this artist's page is here from that a book I have on how to draw, and with the trees. Very happy with how this book is coming along. I'm realizing now, like I said, they will be quite simple books. Not quite naked books, but certainly not stuffed full. I'm realizing now that the text block for the Edwardian Lady, there is too much in there for one journal, but maybe not quite enough to do two jam-packed journals. But on the other hand, for me, I'm okay with that because I'm just lately just really embracing a writer's kind of book, or a book that allows the new owner to have a little bit more room in their new journal. The book becomes theirs, right? When you purchase it, it's yours to do with as you please. If you want to start a bonfire with it, it's yours. So I really love knowing that I've sent it off to its new home with plenty of room to be transformed and personalized by the new owner. If you're wondering here, I always sort of feel out my book when I need to pull up the edges of paper, because sometimes I find that my good old Tweezerman tweezers do the best job for some books, and there's no explaining why. I just feel it out. Sometimes my old kitchen knife does the best job, and this one also might not be bad. Nope, see, my Tweezerman is better. And then for the really tricky ones, I use this one that my son-in-law created for me. But this one requires really steady, gentle hand to lift up. Because if you're too vigorous, you can go right through the book paper. And you also have to be very careful, because if you push too hard and your knife jumps, this thing is like a razor blade. So you have to remember your knife skills from art school. Never pull it towards you. Never hold your hand in front of where you're working on the knife. All those rules come into play with this little baby. But I'm finding for some reason, I don't know how I discovered it. I think I discovered it one day because I noticed that the corners were nice and loose. Sometimes that's the best place to start when you're shaving back your old book papers. Is sometimes the best place to start is if the corner will lift up nicely like that. And my chubby little stumpy fingers don't always grab things the best, but my tweezers do. And I use them every day in the studio. And it's just a fluke that I have the nice Tweezerman tweezers. The Tweezerman tweezers are wonderful for you ladies that like to keep your eyebrows and such really nice. You can't beat Tweezerman. They're not cheap, but they're fantastic. And I couldn't find my Tweezerman tweezers anywhere, and I was panicking, because when you're a brunette, sometimes your eyebrows need to be kept under control. And I couldn't find them anywhere, so much so that I was only willing to give myself a couple days to find the Tweezerman tweezers, and then go out and get another pair, which is what I did. I went out, got myself a new pair of Tweezerman tweezers, and of course, what do I find? I find my old blue pair. But it was meant to be, because that meant, woo, hooray, I can use my blue ones in my studio and use my new ones at my vanity. So it was meant to be. The art gods wanted me to have Tweezerman tweezers in my studio and in my bedroom. There we go. I probably should have done this before I even glued all this in. But we're not going to let that get us down. We are adaptable. Hubby has to work this weekend, so I will have a nice quiet house, me and Kirby. It's I'm rediscovering, especially now that the nice weather's here, how nice it is just to go out a couple times a day just for a little walk. After Dot passed away, we were 2 years without a dog, and I had gotten out of the habit of just getting outside and getting a little bit of fresh air, just go down the street and back again. Even that's something, especially for me. I'm not as active as I should be, but at least now it's something, because that little Kirby, she'll look at me with the with the eyes and look at the leash hanging on the hook and look at me and look at the leash, and how do you say no to that? So she's good for me. There we go. And I think I can sneak in underneath here and get all of it off, because I cut the wings on a bit of an angle. So that's good. My next decision, and I'm sorry, I'm going to do it off camera because I'm running out of time, but maybe I'll have it done by tomorrow and show you, is I think I'm going to back, oh, hold on, let me do this, let me get this out of here. Let me get out my paintbrush. There. I'm thinking I want to back the new end paper just onto something lighter. I don't know. It is heavier, but it's made with wartime paper. 1948 was just after the end of the war, so things, the quality of things were still getting back into higher quality because things were being diverted for the war, even paper goods. So part of me wonders if I need to, it wouldn't hurt to put this onto, it wouldn't hurt to put it onto, you know what? Yeah. And that way, I haven't done this in a while, I could put a doily pocket here. I've got room. There's plenty of room for a doily pocket for a tuck spot. Oh, I'm going to have to think about that. I'm going to go grab one. All right. Oh, I've got some with little pansies. I love these ones. Nancy, I believe you found a tablecloth. Was it a tablecloth of all these? She took the time, took the whole thing apart, and re-starched and pressed them so that they're perfect. Because, of course, when they're in a tablecloth, here, I'll show you here. This one needs to be done. Wish I could send it all to Nancy. Get her to do it for me. Once you sew them into a different shape, it distorts. Like where they're joined here, they become distorted, and they're not, it's not a nice smooth curve anymore, or bumps. Oh, wrong side. See what I mean? But I like those little pansies. And I like this. But then I also wonder, it's big, and it could handle something bigger. I want something I'm trying not to give myself too many choices. I could go through that whole bag and take 4 hours to decide. Do you know what I mean? But to do, I haven't done a Nancy doily tuck spot in a long time where I'm sure she thought of it. I'm going to give her credit anyways. But she sews the doily into the corner, and then she curls it back and presses it, and then sometimes puts like a little pin with a little dangle or something there, and it becomes a tuck spot. I would have to decide if I have enough room, and I like to hang them over the edge. So let's see. Oh, see, if that was hanging over the edge, that would look yummy. That just adds to the grunge. Okay, decision made. Sorry, pansies. Although maybe I'll put one in. Maybe I'll put one in somewhere else, because I think Edith would approve of little purple pansies. Oh my goodness, it reminds me of Sunday school days. There was a song, Little Purple Pansies Touched with Yellow Gold. I always think of old lady voices when I would hear that song. Yeah, I might have to use one of those as well. All right. You know what? That's it today. I wish I got more done than just gluing in a pocket, so you can all have a good laugh. So what did Catherine get done today? Well, she glued in a pocket. She got something done. Yes, she glued in a pocket, and she took us on a tour of things she didn't show us how she did. Have a great rest of your day, and I'm quite sure we will get together tomorrow, because I will have nothing else to do for the rest of Saturday with hubby at work. It'll just be me and the little fluff ball and 2 walks, and nothing else to do but play in my studio. Yes! And maybe record a video. All right, take care, and we'll talk soon. Bye.